You're stepping into a new year with the same tired mind, the same old habits, and the same reflex that steals your control. You tell yourself it will be different this time, but deep down, you can feel the pattern. You cross the calendar line, and you carry the same weight across with you. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A new year doesn't change you. Time is neutral. What changes you is what you're finally willing to cut. Not more motivation, not another goal list. Subtraction. Removing the quiet leaks that drain your discipline every day, one compromise at a time, one distraction at a time, one indulgence that looks harmless until you realize it has been leading you. So let me ask you something that matters. If everything stays the same, what is really ruling you? Is it your emotions triggered and pulled like a door in the wind? Is it the screen, feeding you noise before you've even met your own mind? Is it the need to be liked, the habit of pleasing, the comfort you protect, the excuses that sound reasonable while your life stays unchanged? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That power doesn't appear on January 1st. It returns the moment you draw a clean line. Today, we'll walk through 10 cuts, 10 things to remove, so you can reclaim discipline, calm, and inner command before the year truly begins. As you listen, choose one cut you need most. Hold it in your mind until the end, because one clean removal, done consistently, can rebuild your entire direction. 1. Cut reactivity, train composure. Most people don't lose their peace in big moments, they lose it in small ones. A careless sentence, a comment online, a look that feels disrespectful, a delay, a tone, a misunderstanding. And suddenly your whole day is no longer yours. Your mind keeps replaying it, your body stays tense, you keep reacting long after the moment has passed. Emotion is like a storm. If you react instantly, you become someone chasing the wind. You run after every gust, every trigger, every ripple of discomfort. But composure is a fortress. It doesn't stop the storm from coming. It stops the storm from owning you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it." That means freedom is not a life with no provocation. Freedom is the space you build between stimulus and response. The world can knock on your nervous system all day. The question is whether you open the door automatically. Here's what most people don't see. Your nervous system wants discharge. It wants immediate release, so it can feel light again. That's why you snap, argue, over-explain, or spiral in your head. But every quick reaction trains one lesson: your emotions are in command, and over time, that becomes identity. So practice this the moment you feel the surge. Stop for 3 seconds. Take one slow breath. Then ask one question: does this reaction protect my character, or just protect my ego? If it's ego, pause again. If it's character, respond with clarity, briefly, cleanly, without heat. You don't have to win the moment. You just have to not abandon your center. 2. Cut digital noise. Restore focus. For many people, the day doesn't begin with intention. It begins with a screen. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind is already somewhere else. Messages, headlines, updates, other people's urgency. And at night, when your body is exhausted, you keep scrolling, not because you need information, but because silence feels unfamiliar. Digital noise is like standing in a room full of loudspeakers. Everyone is talking, everything is demanding attention, and in that chaos, you slowly lose the sound of your own mind. You're busy, but scattered, stimulated, but unfocused, connected, but internally fragmented. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Attention is that power. When your attention is constantly pulled outward, you don't just lose focus, you lose command. Your thoughts become reactive. Your priorities blur. Your inner direction gets outsourced to algorithms designed to keep you restless. Here's the psychological trap. The brain is wired to chase novelty. Every notification is a small dopamine hook, promising something new, something urgent, something rewarding. Over time, this trains your mind to resist depth. Stillness feels boring, focus feels heavy, silence feels wrong. Not because silence is empty, but because you've forgotten how to stay with it. So you don't need to delete everything or disappear from the world. You need boundaries. Create 2 simple gates. The first, no screens for the first 30 minutes of your morning. Let your mind wake up without intrusion. The second, no screens for the last 30 minutes at night. Let your nervous system stand down before sleep. When the screen goes quiet, something returns: clarity, direction, and the ability to hear yourself think again. 3. Cut people-pleasing. People-pleasing rarely looks like weakness on the surface. It looks like being helpful, being flexible, being easy to work with. So you say yes when your body says no. You agree when you're already stretched thin, and you tell yourself it's fine until the quiet resentment starts to build. People-pleasing is a subtle trade. You sell your time, your energy, your focus, in exchange for temporary relief. Relief from discomfort, relief from guilt, relief from the fear of being misunderstood or disliked. But the price shows up later as exhaustion, irritation, and the feeling that your life is being lived on someone else's schedule. Seneca warned, "If you live to please others, you will never be at peace." In everyday terms, that means you cannot build a steady life while letting other people's expectations set your priorities. Peace requires authorship, and authorship requires boundaries. At the psychological level, this pattern runs deep. The nervous system is wired to avoid social rejection. It would rather choose social safety than personal truth. So it urges you to explain, soften, over-justify, and over-commit. But every time you do, you train your mind to associate self-betrayal with survival. Start with one clean boundary. The next time you feel the reflex to say yes, pause. Then say one simple sentence: "I can't commit to that right now." No long explanation, no apology spiral, no negotiation with your own needs. Let the silence stand. You'll notice something important. The world doesn't collapse. The relationship either adjusts or reveals its limits, and you remain intact. Boundaries don't make you cold, they make you real. 4. Cut weak company, raise standards. You don't become weak overnight. You become weak by exposure, by staying in rooms where delay is normal, where complaining is bonding, where distraction is the default weekend plan, where ambition gets mocked as too serious. You're not dragged down by one dramatic moment. You soften slowly until your standards feel heavy and their standards feel easy. It's like steel left in salt water. Nothing loud happens, no explosion, just corrosion daily, quietly, consistently. You still look the same for a while, but inside, the edge is getting dull. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and the strongest dye is the people closest to you, because your mind absorbs what it repeats, the jokes you tolerate, the habits you watch, the excuses you hear enough times to start believing are just life." There's psychology behind this. Mirror neurons make you pick up the rhythm of the crowd without realizing it. You start talking like them, reacting like them, normalizing what they normalize. Even if you're trying to grow, your nervous system adapts to the room faster than your ideals do. So don't make this emotional, make it precise. Do a simple 7-day audit. After each interaction, ask, did this person sharpen me or loosen me? Do I leave this conversation clearer or heavier? Then act quietly. You don't need confrontation. Start with reduced exposure, shorter calls, fewer hangouts, more distance from environments that dilute your discipline. This isn't hatred, it's stewardship. You don't need to dislike anyone. You just need to respect your future enough to stop living in places that erode it. 5. Cut short-term pleasure. Protect discipline. When you're tired, you reach for entertainment. When you feel low, you reach for stimulation. When you're stressed, you reach for a reward. Not because the thing is evil, but because it's immediate. It gives relief on demand. And slowly, your mind learns one dangerous habit. The moment discomfort appears, escape becomes the answer. Pleasure isn't the enemy. But when pleasure holds the leash, you're not free. Because then you don't choose your day, your impulses do. One scroll becomes an hour, one episode becomes a night. One "I deserve this" becomes a routine that quietly replaces strength with softness. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it." That line isn't about suffering for drama, it's about training your capacity to stay steady when the body wants out. The Stoic doesn't run from discomfort, they turn it into practice, because the ability to endure is the foundation of discipline. Here's the micropsychology. When reward comes before effort, the brain starts to hate effort. It adapts to easy dopamine and rejects resistance. Deep work feels painful, training feels pointless, real progress feels slow. And eventually, your nervous system becomes dependent on quick relief to feel okay. So use one simple rule: earn it. Entertainment only after you complete one difficult block, 25 minutes of real effort, one focused task, one uncomfortable action you've been avoiding. Then, if you choose, you enjoy your pleasure without guilt because it's proportioned, not controlling. Over time, this rewires you. You stop needing stimulation to move. You create first. You endure first. You lead your mind back to sovereignty. Discipline doesn't take joy away. It returns joy to its rightful place after you've earned your own respect. 6. Cut excuses, end delay. Most lives don't stall because of laziness. They stall because of reasons, reasonable ones. I'll start tomorrow. I need better conditions. Today I'm too tired. Each excuse sounds intelligent. Each one feels harmless, and together they freeze your direction while time keeps moving. Excuses are like a soft chair placed in the middle of the road. You sit down to rest for a moment, then you forget you were ever walking somewhere. Nothing dramatic stops you. You just stay. Marcus Aurelius was ruthless about this. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In plain terms, stop rehearsing the identity. Perform one disciplined action now. Not later. Not when you feel ready. Now. Here's the psychological truth most people avoid. The ego doesn't delay because it's lazy. It delays because it's afraid. Afraid of looking foolish. Afraid of failing publicly. Afraid of discovering its limits. So, it creates stories that sound mature and responsible, but serve one purpose: protecting comfort by avoiding action. The problem is that every delay trains your nervous system to trust excuses more than intention. You start to doubt yourself. You break small promises. And slowly, confidence erodes, not from failure, but from never showing up. So, apply a simple rule. The moment you hear an excuse form in your head, act for 60 seconds. Just 60. Write one sentence. Do one push-up. Open the document. Send the message. Start badly. Start awkwardly. Let action interrupt the narrative before it finishes explaining why you shouldn't begin. Most of the time, momentum takes over. And even if it doesn't, you've proven something vital. Excuses don't control you. Excuses make you comfortable. Action makes you free. 7. Cut body neglect. Build strength. You can't build a strong mind inside a neglected body. Many people want discipline, focus, and emotional control, but they live in a system that is constantly exhausted. Poor sleep, little movement, too much sitting, too much screen light at night. Then they wonder why their thoughts feel heavy and their patience feels thin. The body is the foundation. If the foundation is weak, the house cannot stand, no matter how inspired the blueprint looks. And Stoicism was never just a philosophy of words. It was a philosophy of endurance, posture, breath, and daily practice. Seneca said, "It is a disgrace to grow old through sheer carelessness." That isn't vanity, it's responsibility. Because the body is the vehicle through which your values become real. If you can't hold energy, you can't hold focus. If you can't regulate your breath, you can't regulate your reaction. If you are constantly depleted, your lack of discipline is often just fatigue wearing a moral mask. Here's the psychological truth. Exhaustion produces anxiety and irritability. Your brain isn't broken, your system is drained. When you're depleted, everything feels harder. Small problems feel personal. Minor stress feels like a threat, and your nervous system becomes reactive because it has no reserve. So don't start with extremes, start with consistency. 10 minutes every morning, fast walking or simple mobility. Enough to raise your temperature and tell your nervous system, we are alive, we are in motion. Then, prioritize sleep like it's training, not leisure. Go to bed earlier, even if you don't feel done. A rested body gives your mind the space to choose, not just survive. Strength doesn't begin in your thoughts, it begins in your habits, and the body is the first habit. When the body is steady, the mind becomes steady without forcing it. 8. Cut comfort dependence. Many people only function well when conditions are easy, when the mood is right, when the environment is calm, when nothing pushes back. The moment friction appears, fatigue, resistance, boredom, they look for an exit, a distraction, a justification, a softer path. And over time, comfort stops being a support and starts becoming a requirement. Comfort is like a warm blanket. There's nothing wrong with it, but if you stay wrapped in it too long, you forget that you can tolerate the cold. You forget your own resilience. And when life inevitably removes the blanket, panic replaces confidence. Seneca understood this danger. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, not as punishment, as preparation." Voluntary discomfort was never about suffering, it was about freedom. When you know you can endure less, you're no longer afraid of losing more. Here's what modern psychology confirms. The nervous system needs small, controlled doses of discomfort to stay resilient. Without it, tolerance shrinks. Stress feels overwhelming. Inconvenience feels personal. And any challenge triggers avoidance instead of adaptation. So, reintroduce difficulty on your terms. One hard thing a day, cold water on your skin for 30 seconds, a walk without headphones, a simple meal without stimulation, not to prove anything. Not to post about it, just to remind your system, I can handle this. Over time, something changes. You stop negotiating with discomfort. You stop dramatizing it. You move through it calmly, without needing relief to feel okay. Comfort becomes a choice again, not a dependency. This isn't about making life harder, it's about making yourself harder to shake, so when pressure arrives, you don't collapse. Not to suffer, but so life can no longer threaten you with discomfort. 9. Cut drift, live deliberately. A lot of people are busy, but they're not moving. Their days are full, their calendars packed, their minds constantly occupied, and yet nothing essential changes. Effort is everywhere. Direction is nowhere. They're working hard, but not toward anything that actually anchors their life. Drift doesn't feel dangerous at first. It feels flexible, open, comfortable. But drift is how energy leaks. When you don't choose a direction, every request becomes reasonable. Every distraction becomes acceptable. And slowly, your life gets shaped by what shows up instead of what you stand for. Seneca warned about this clearly. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. In other words, without direction, even good opportunities become threats. They scatter you. They pull you sideways. They turn motion into exhaustion instead of progress. Here's the deeper psychology. Drift happens when consumption replaces decision. You take in content, opinions, tasks, and demands all day, but you rarely decide what matters most. Decision-making feels heavy, so the mind postpones it. And in that avoidance, momentum belongs to the environment, not to you. Living deliberately doesn't require a perfect life plan. It requires a daily anchor, one chosen priority that shapes the rest of the day. Without that anchor, your nervous system stays reactive, jumping from stimulus to stimulus, mistaking activity for meaning. So simplify the practice. Every morning, before the day starts pulling at you, ask one question. Today, what is the one essential thing? Not 5, not a list, 1. The action that, if done, would make the day honest, even if nothing else goes right. Then protect it, schedule around it. Let smaller things orbit it instead of replacing it. Meaning doesn't come from speed, it comes from direction, and direction begins the moment you stop drifting and choose where to aim. 10. Cut inconsistent identity. One of the quietest sources of exhaustion is living as two people. One version of you speaks about discipline, purpose, and standards. The other version acts based on mood, comfort, and impulse. You promise yourself you'll be different tomorrow, then tomorrow arrives, and nothing lines up. This split creates friction inside. You're not just tired from work or responsibility. You're tired from self-contradiction, from saying one thing and doing another, from carrying an identity that never fully materializes in action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." Consistency is not rigidity, it's steadiness. It's becoming someone whose actions don't collapse the moment conditions change. Here's the psychological cost most people miss. Every time you break a promise to yourself, your brain records it, not as drama but as data. Over time, it learns not to trust your intentions. Motivation weakens. Confidence erodes. You start hesitating before you even begin because part of you expects yourself to quit. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. Identity is not what you declare, it's what you repeatedly prove. And the proof doesn't have to be big. In fact, small proofs are stronger because they're harder to fake. So, apply one simple practice, one proof per day, just one action that confirms who you say you are. If you say you value discipline, do one disciplined thing even when no one sees it. If you say you value honesty, tell one hard truth without performance. Let the action be quiet, but real. Over time, something stabilizes. The inner conflict fades. You stop negotiating with yourself, and your energy stops leaking into internal battles. When you become one person inside and out, life feels lighter. Less war, more ground. If you look back at what we just walked through, you'll notice something important. You didn't need a new year to become a new person. You needed a clearing, a deliberate subtraction that gives you your choices back. You moved from reactivity to composure, learning that freedom is the pause between stimulus and response. You moved from noise to focus, remembering that attention is power, and power must be guarded. You moved from people-pleasing to boundaries, realizing that your life cannot be built on someone else's comfort. You moved from weak company to higher standards because the environment you tolerate becomes the person you become. You moved from instant pleasure to discipline, earning satisfaction instead of borrowing it. You moved from excuses to action, choosing movement before the mind can negotiate. You moved from neglecting the body to building strength because a steady mind needs a steady system. You moved from comfort dependence to resilience, training for life instead of hiding from it. You moved from drift to deliberate living, choosing one essential direction instead of endless motion. And you moved from an inconsistent identity to a unified one proof a day, until your word becomes reliable again. Here is the Stoic truth beneath all of it. You do not own what already happened. You do not own the outside world, the timing, the opinions, or the chaos. What you own fully is how you show up now. The posture you choose, the standard you keep, the actions you repeat when no one is watching. And this is the signature of Stoic Current. You won't reinvent yourself in noise. You rebuild quietly. You return to your center in silence, where you cut what has been owning you. Not to be better than anyone, just to stop being controlled by anything. So take one step today, not 10. 1. Choose the cut that is draining you the most, and make it smaller right now, in a concrete way. If this hit where it needed to hit, comment one thing you will cut today. And if you want to keep training your mind with Stoic Current, subscribe and we'll keep walking this path together. Calmly, relentlessly, one clean decision at a time.